It's a real privilege to meet you here at this amazing conference in this extraordinary mystery we call being alive. And I want to make it clear that everything I'm about to say to you is built on a foundation of deep respect for that breathtaking mystery and the state of not knowing. And much of what I do is about awakening, which is about focusing on that mystery. I did that on Wednesday when I came and did a pre-conference workshop. But I'm also a philosopher and really just a very curious human being who wants to understand his life and hopes that if I could understand my life a bit better and I could share it clearly enough, it might help you. And what I'm looking for is a story which can embrace, on the one hand, the spiritual wisdom, which I find so compelling, and on the other, the scientific knowledge, which I also find really compelling. And I've been unable to find the story which does that, so I've had to make one up. And that's what I've done in my latest book, in my latest work, and I've called that philosophy Emergent Spirituality, and I've got 20 minutes in which I want to share that with you. And I've come all this way from England, specially to be here with you right now. Because this conference is called the Emergent Universe, and my feeling is, friends, that in that idea is the new paradigm, is the new story, is the new thing which can take us forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a whole load of ideas very, very quickly, and I'm going to hope that you can hold on to them and then take them away and think about them later and see what you think. Okay, you ready? Here we go. I want to start with time. You've heard a lot about time as an illusion, all that sort of stuff. I don't see it like that. When I look at this moment right now, what I see is a process unfolding. It's always a process unfolding. Everything is a process. The whole universe is a process, and processes are made of time. So time seems fundamental to me. Time, far from being an illusion, it feels like time is reality. It's just that we haven't understood the nature of time properly, and I think that's because we have the wrong analogy. We have this analogy in English that time passes, like choo, choo. But when I look really closely, it seems to me that time doesn't pass. A better analogy is that time accumulates, actually. By which I mean there's more past now than there was when I started 2 minutes ago. There's more past now than when you came in, than when you decided to come here, than when the human body evolved, than when the Big Bang happened. There is always more past. And it seems to me that the past has not gone anywhere. The past is implicitly in the moment. That everything that has ever happened is implicit in this moment right now. And if that were not the case, it would not be this moment. Implicit in this moment is you coming, me coming, us learning English, us, the inventions of the airplane to get me, everything, the whole of the evolutionary process, everything that has ever happened is implicit in this moment and makes it what it is. So when I look at this moment, what I see is what it is the meeting of everything that has been and everything that could be. It's the meeting of the past and the possible. This unfolding of a process of form and something formless and timeless, possibility. Because every single moment that I've ever experienced has got two characteristics. It is unlike anything that's ever happened before. It's the realization of a new possibility, and it includes everything that's ever happened. Both. That's its nature. Here it is again. This moment has never happened before, and it includes everything that has ever happened. So it looks to me like the whole universe is the realization of potentiality. Where did the universe come from? Well, surely something we can say is it's come from the potentiality for the universe. And that what happened 13.8 billion years ago at the thing we call the Big Bang, which was the beginning of this flow of time, moment zero, is that a process started of realization of potentiality. And that realization of potentiality has been increasing as time has accumulated, as the past has accumulated. Now, I want to pick up on an idea which a few speakers have touched on, which is that what we're experiencing here, this wonderful world that we experience, is how we experience it. But that what lies beyond our experience is best characterized as information. So that what this is information subjectively experienced. This is what it looks like to you and me. To a slug, it would look different. To a bat, it would seem different. Same information being differently experienced subjectively. So what happened 13.8 billion years ago is the beginning of the accumulation of this information. And as that information has accumulated, there has been a tendency, inevitably, towards evolution and towards greater emergence on deeper and deeper levels. So it starts very simple, but it's going to end spectacularly here. I have the honor of sitting in front of Brian's swim, and there's a line I read of Brian's, I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm going to hopefully get the essence, which I adore, where he said something like, what did we find out? Well, at the beginning there was a hydrogen. If you take hydrogen and you leave it for long enough, it learns to sing opera. That's the vision of the emergent universe, which is just extraordinary. So what's happened is that we've seen this emergence of information going on to many levels. So it started with the evolution of the physical universe, or the differentiation of that. And then we see it emerging as the life for the first time. There's life, and with life comes for the first time sensation, the first looking, the first listening. And then right at the end of this process, the latest thing, this experience of psyche. This experience we're having right now of a non-material dimension. You're experiencing a material dimension through your senses, but you're also experiencing a non-material dimension full of images, full of meaning. And it's nowhere. If you can spot it in the physical, in the world of the body, you're seeing a kind of monkey with clothes making funny noises. But these funny noises carry meaning, but there's no meaning in the funny noises. The meaning is all in the psyche. We've arrived from simple matter, it's ended up in something not made of matter, something made of images, something which doesn't exist in space. Another dimension altogether. Now, the word psyche is the ancient Greek word for soul. So I'm going to call that soul. You can call it imagination if you like. I don't care what you call it. Just be conscious that you're experiencing it right now. Now, for the spiritual traditions, soul is not just a byproduct of the body. Soul is a whole dimension. In fact, it's the greatest reality from which we have fallen into matter. For the modern mainstream scientific story, it's all evolved, matter, and then life, and then this byproduct from the body. What I want to suggest is they're both wrong, but they can come together if they make a slight change. What I want to suggest to science is that this dimension of soul is a whole new level of emergence. And that the great story of evolution has not just been a story of the evolution of matter and the evolution of life, but this third element, which is the evolution of the soul dimension. And I want to suggest to spirituality that this dimension has not pre-existed the universe, but has arisen through the universe. Because everything which has form has emerged in this process of evolution. Everything. And if you can get that, you can see what I'm saying is that information has arisen as matter, and then information has arisen as biology, and then information is arisen on another distinct level, which is immaterial, which is soul, which is what spirituality has always been concerned with. And that can help us maybe understand in a rational way the idea central to all spiritual traditions just about of the immortality of the soul. Because from the other perspective, that just sounds like woo-woo, wishful thinking, impossible. How can it be possible? Well, here's an analogy. It's just to be quick. When I wrote my book, I wrote it on my computer, and all the information was on my computer. So it looked like if I dropped my coffee on the computer, I would lose, it would all disappear. But actually, the information wasn't on the computer. It was on the cloud. It wasn't anywhere. The computer was here. It was on there, but it was also on the cloud, which was everywhere. The same information was there. More of it, actually. So that if this died, that was still there. What I'm suggesting is that something comparable is happening with information on these different levels. You can see that if you jump back to the body, the biological level is not a byproduct of physics. It's a whole level in itself. And it looks like this level, my body, is made of matter, but it really isn't. Because the matter in my body comes and goes. I spoke here at the first one 10 years ago. This is a completely different body in terms of atoms. Totally different. The matter is all new. But it's my body. Why? Because the body is information on a biological level, and physical information is passing through it. In the same way, it seems to me, we have arisen on another more emergent level, whereby in soul, we are information on a soul level, and biological information passes through. And it keeps its integrity. So you can begin to ask that great question, is there life after death, by just going, what we're really saying is, that experience we're having right now of sensation and imagination, when the body dies and the sensation stops, does imagination cease or not? Does that world of images continue? And my suggestion is that it does. And this is what people who've had near-death experiences report to us, and we have hundreds of thousands of these reports. And they sound like dreams. Why? Because they are. But not dreams in the sense of something unreal. Actually, a collective dream, which is, if you like, hyper-real. It's the most emergent level of reality because it's come last. It took 13.8 billion years to get to this level. Life and death came with biology. With soul, on this level, we've transcended that. So what I'm saying, to put it into provocative language, is that heaven has evolved. It has come into being. And if you look at the history of what people have said about experiences after death throughout history, you can almost see it happening. You can start with the Greeks and the Jews with this kind of shadowy world of shades. And you end with these incredible technicolor shared dreams that people are having today, full of everything. Because the world of soul has taken shape, just like the world of biology has taken shape, just like the world of matter before it has taken shape. And just as biology is not just physics, soul is not just biology. It transcends and includes it, and it is more emergent than it. So I want to suggest that the leading edge of this incredible process, which we are in, which we are, is awakening. And that if we can understand the evolution of the cosmos, we can actually understand what awakening is in a really interesting way. Because I said every moment is the meeting of the past and the possible, the becoming and the being, the forming and the formless. And that this has arisen and is realizing potentiality. So you can see one of the words you can give to this potentiality, one of the traditional words is spirit. You can call it Brahman, you can call it whatever you like. This potentiality is realizing itself as everything. And another way, that's objectively, to say the same thing subjectively, this potentiality is experiencing itself as everything. Every flow of experience, whether of sensation or imagination, is being experienced by this one vast presence of being. So what's happened through the evolutionary process, it seems to me, is that we've individuated more and become more and more conscious until there's us. We're conscious of matter and biology, and then we're also conscious of soul. And if we become conscious enough, we can be conscious that we are conscious. And we can take our attention out of experience and take it back onto the experiencer. And when we do that, we find this vast, formless presence of being. And we find that my being is the being of everything. And that whilst I'm arising as this separate, individuating flow of form, what I am at my depths is one with everything. So that we can see a journey from primal spirit, if you will, which is an unconscious oneness, unconscious because it's un-everything. Primal spirit, unconscious oneness, becoming ever more conscious separateness until it is conscious enough to be conscious of its essence and arrive at conscious oneness. Unconscious oneness, conscious separateness to conscious oneness. And that's the latest thing on the blog. I want to pick up something that Nancy was talking about and play with that. Because at some point in this amazing process, a whole load of cells came into a state of communion and created a body, which I experience as Tim. And I want to suggest to you that when we come into this conscious oneness as individual souls, as individual psyches, we also come into communion. And in that communion of souls, we are giving rise to another, more emergent level of this ever-expanding reality. And a good name for that may be God. That as we come into this oneness, a new emergent level is taking shape, of which we are parts. And I can't know what it's like to be God any more than a cell in my body knows what it's like to be Tim. But I know exactly what it feels like to commune in that oneness. Because it feels like the most enormous love. This just huge, limitless love. Because love is how the oneness feels. You wake up to that oneness and there's this... So there is a being of love and conscious oneness arising as we commune in oneness. And one name we can give that is God. And the problem with the idea of God and why it's fallen so terribly out of fashion is that you put God at the beginning, and God is kind of a crazy monster. He's not a being of love. If he's the source of all the suffering in the universe, I don't like him or her. And he's a bit nuts. I mean, really, if you want to get to soul, do you have to go through 120 million years of dinosaurs, really? Or 5 mass extinctions? He's indecisive, he's crazy, he's mean. The version which goes, it's come from potentiality and it's just forming itself, it's primitive, that works. So what I suggest is, God is not the source, God is the destination. God is the fruit of this evolutionary process. God is where the universe is moving to, and we are the means through which that is happening. So that the being of love, which I felt around me since I was a little boy, is a reality at the most emergent level. And the universe, the purpose, is to realize ever more and more emergent levels. That's what it's been doing for 13.8 billion years. And here we are at the leading edge of that process. And we have the choice how we form ourselves. You're made of your past. I'm made of my past. We're made of each other now. We choose how we make ourselves. And we can choose to find the most emergent things within us and bring them to life. And we can choose to wake up to this vast oneness and love, which is our essential nature, and bring that to life. And that's what I wanted to come from England to share with you, my friends. So thank you for your attention.